Greetings, I'm Neon Slice, and today I have another guide for S Plus Professional, and specifically Professional because in Professional you are limited to 15 saves. So today I want to talk about where to save and what my thought process was in when I decided the 15 saves that I did decide. So let's start off by saying I'm taking these saves from my own personal guide, the Easy Resident Evil 4 Remake Professional S Plus Guide. Check it out, watch it if you haven't already. So, save number 1. In my own playthrough, I decided to save at around chapter 3. So, I saved in chapter 3 at the bridge location. So, I mainly decided to save here because a lot of people were struggling with the fishing farm area. A lot of people were struggling with the fishing farm area. A lot of people were struggling with the lake monster, the Lago boss fight. So I decided to save in chapter 3. So I'm fairly confident when it comes to chapter 2, the valley, when you get the eagle emblem. That's only about 12 minutes into the run. So I felt confident enough not to save at chapter 2. So we saved at chapter 3 at the bridge in the church house that's right beneath the church, right here, right to the side of the church. I decided to save here because of that, because the fishing farm was a place that a lot of people were struggling with. So I decided to do that. That way, if I failed the Lago, I could just come back here and I could avoid chapter 2 and chapter 1 the entire time. Because chapter 2 and chapter 1 were some of the most difficult parts for a lot of people, and they're just kind of annoying to do. So even though they take 12 minutes, they're kind of annoying. So I decided to save at the church in chapter 3. So moving on to chapter 2, to save number 2. So moving on to save number 2, I decided to save at chapter 4, right before the giant boss fight. This is after returning from the fishing farm and having done all of the caves puzzles, getting the red 9, getting the golden egg and all of that, and I was getting ready for the giant boss. So I decided to save here because, I mean, it's right before the giant boss, and, you know, it's a huge waste of time having to redo the whole cave section of chapter 4, even though I enjoy it and it's fairly easy. And yeah, so I saved right before the giant boss fight for that reason, because the giant is kind of like a reset point for a lot of people, especially since if you're playing on console and you really have to hit that parasite on his back, and it's really difficult, especially if you're using the red 9. And much like me, you know, I'm a console player, but I prefer PC mouse and keyboard. So I was struggling a lot hitting that plaga on the back with the red 9. So I decided to save here at the merchant's hideout right before the giant boss fight. So let's move on to save number 3. So save number 3 actually takes place in the chief's manor. Now this is right before the cabin. So I decided to do it at the chief's manor because I wanted to do the Savage Mutt quest, which is not necessary. So instead, if you're not doing the Savage Mutt request, I suggest you save right before the cabin. I mean, it doesn't really make that much difference if you save here or there. But yeah, this is right before the cabin, so I recommend actually saving in wherever you want, but I recommend saving in the Chief's Manor because you get to get the yellow herb and the antique camera treasure. So yeah, that's why I'm saving here, because the cabin sucks. Moving on. So save number 4 will occur at chapter 6. This is right before you fight the Chainsaw Sisters and Vitores. So I decided to save here because obviously the Chainsaw Sisters are really difficult for some people, and I decided to save here because, you know, might as well, you know, cut that 5 minutes from running from chapter 5 all the way here. So those 5 to 10 minutes, and it's just convenient, so you don't have to do the whole Savage Mutt thing and the whole cabin thing, right? So yeah. It's just a good idea to save here because the cabin really sucks. So I saved before the Bella Sisters, the Chainsaw Sisters, for that reason. So save number 5 will be after the Vitores Mendez boss fight at chapter 7 at the castle, the very first chapter in the castle. So chapter 7 obviously I decided to save here because in my guide I got the Chicago Sweeper Infinite upgrade for free for 30 spinos. So I decided to save here. I think it's a very safe spot to save, you know, right after a boss fight. And yeah, I think it's a good time to save in chapter 7 at the beginning. So that's the reason. So save number 6 will be in chapter 8. I decided to save in chapter 8 because of the water hole. The water hole in the castle is just insanely time consuming, and it's just pure madness, and it's just annoying to do. So I decided to play it safe and save at the beginning of chapter 8 because leading up to the water hole you actually have to do a red cultist run. The red cultist will turn the other enemies into plagas if you don't know. So it's probably a really good idea to save here. So save number 7 for me was after Ashley's segment. So I decided to do Waterhole, do all of the 3 trials for the heads, and then I saved after Ashley. Now I did this because I am just extremely confident with doing the 3 trials for the 3 heads. I mean, one is a freebie, the goat head, the snake head, sorry, in the dining room. The armors are not that difficult, to be honest, and the last trial can be completely skipped, the room with the red cultist 2.0. So I decided to save after Ashley because Ashley's segment is just amazing and it's just so easy. So moving on to the next one. Save number 8 will be right before the first minecart. So, much to your surprise, save number 9 will occur after the first minecart section. And yes, I know it's dumb, but a lot of people were having trouble with the minecart section. Like I said, the minecart section is a do or die kind of deal with a lot of people. So I decided to waste the save here, but don't worry, we'll make up for it later. But yeah, you don't have to save here. You can skip that save and save here. You know, the first minecart section is actually quite easy, but I wanted to play it super safe, so I saved between minecart sections. So save number 10 will actually happen after the Vertigo boss fight, right before the clock tower. So right after we get the golden egg from the throne room to kill Ramon Salazar, we're saving right before we go on the gondola to go to the clock tower and into the Ramon boss fight. So saving right before the clock tower. That's pretty much a no-brainer for me because, you know, no one wants to fight the Vertigo again, right? So save number 11 will actually happen at the island. So I'm saving at the island because this is right after clock tower, right after Salazar. So it's a really good point to save here at the island because, you know, for that reason, you know, just the first section of the island can kill your run, right? So I think this is like 20 to 30 minutes after, you know, doing the clock tower and all that, and I really hate having to redo the clock tower. So I decided to save at the island, the very first chapter in the island. So yeah, that's my save number 11. So save number 12 will actually happen in the laboratory. So right before you meet the first regenerator. I am doing this because regenerators are scary. A lot of people were having trouble with the regenerators. A lot of people aren't confident enough to fight the regenerators, and they can pretty much just destroy you. So I decided to save right before the regenerators, right before we get the level 2 key card. So yeah, that's the reason. So save 13 is a no-brainer for me. We saved right before the Krauser boss fight. This is pretty much the best spot you can save in because Krauser can be really tough, and he is really tough. Unless you're planning on using a rocket launcher here, I don't recommend using the rocket launcher here because you will be using that for Sadler, and trust me, Sadler is a lot more annoying and a lot more difficult than Krauser. So we're saving right before Krauser, and yeah, so let's see what the next one is. So, save number 14 will actually be after fighting Krauser in Chapter 15. Chapter 15 is one of the most annoying experiences I've ever had in this game. If you don't know, Chapter 15 is the chapter with Mike, the helicopter dude. So it's pretty much a no-brainer saving after Krauser anyway. So we're saving after Krauser. Chapter 15, our save number 14 will take place right before we meet Mike. Because, trust me, this part can be really annoying and you can die. And if you die, you go all the way back to Krauser. So let's just save before Mike. Lastly, we will be saving right before the Saddler boss. I mean, that's a pretty big no-brainer in my opinion. You know, we're saving right before the final boss. We actually are saving at the beginning of the chapter though, like at the very beginning, or you know, at the end of chapter 15 and at the beginning of chapter 16. We're saving at the beginning because I mean at the end of chapter 15, because you can still die to the Novistadores. You can die to the bugs on your way to the final boss. So I wanted to make sure that you didn't die. So we're saving at the end of chapter 15 and starting at chapter 16 with our save there. So that's all of the 15 saves you're allowed to do in Professional S+. If you guys haven't already, please subscribe, leave a like on this video if you found it informative. It's a bit random, I don't like it, but someone told me to do it and I thought it would be a great idea to, you know, have like a mini guide on how to play Professional and how to do that. Also, please check out my full guide where I commentate for 4 hours, step by step, everything, giving you a reason, giving you a reason to every move that I do, that I make, and showing you the best possible outcome and the best possible routes that you can take, all the puzzle locations, all the puzzle solutions, a lot of treasures, a lot of trophy stuff. So yeah, check it out, please, trust me. You can just find it on this video or go to my channel, look for the thumbnail with the easy in green highlights, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.